I am directing our House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden.
Republican U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on Tuesday launched an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden after weeks of pressure from hardliners and allies of Donald Trump, who was twice impeached during his presidency.
This logical next step will give our committees the full power to gather all the facts and answers for the American public.
Republicans such as Congressman Matt Gaetz are accusing Biden of profiting from his son Hunter Biden's foreign business ventures while he served as vice president from 2009 to 2017.
Joe Biden deserves impeachment for converting the vice presidency into an ATM machine for virtually his entire family.
White House spokesperson Ian Sams said Republicans have turned up no evidence of Biden's wrongdoing, writing on social media, quote, extreme politics at its worst. Democratic House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called the probe illegitimate and a waste of taxpayers' dollars.
Extreme MAGA Republicans have launched an illegitimate impeachment inquiry that is a kangaroo court, fishing expedition, and conspiracy theater rolled into one.
Seriousness of the allegation.
Stephen Griffin, a law professor at Tulane University, voiced concern that impeachment seemed to be turning into a commonplace political tool.
Now it looks like we're involved in a tit-for-tat situation where the parties feel that any effort against a president of their own has to be, in effect, paid back. There has to be payback. And that's a really bad situation for any democracy to be in.
The probe sets the stage for months of divisive House hearings that could distract from lawmakers' efforts to avoid a government shutdown, coming as the country nears the end September deadline to approve spending. Despite conceding to the inquiry, McCarthy's role as the top House Republican is still under threat from the far right over the budget.
Total compliance or remove you.
They're pressing McCarthy to avoid any short-term stopgap spending measure to keep federal agencies afloat, unless it includes hardline spending targets and border security provisions.
After a trip that took him halfway around the world, Joe Biden returned to the White House in the early hours of Tuesday and into a domestic political storm. After months of speculation, the House Republican leader announced that the president will be investigated for alleged abuse of power and corruption.
We know that bank records show that nearly $20 million in payments were directed to the Biden family members and associates through various shell companies. The Treasury Department alone has more than 150 transactions involving the Biden family.
The accusation is that while vice president, Biden corruptly benefited from his son Hunter's business dealings in Ukraine and elsewhere. Hunter is facing criminal charges for alleged tax crimes. There's also a whiff of revenge in the air. Donald Trump was impeached twice by the Democrats. Many Republicans have welcomed the tables being turned.
I think the impeachment inquiry is long overdue. Personally, I'm on the Oversight Committee, and I think that any other citizen that had stacked up against him what the president had stacked up against him right now would already be in court.
Of course, the Republicans would like nothing more than to prove that Joe Biden is guilty of corruption and have him ejected from the White House. But in truth, this episode is less about Biden and the Democrats than the internal politics of the Republican Party itself. Speaker McCarthy is under pressure from lawmakers on the far right of the party who are demanding spending cuts that will force a government shutdown at the end of the month. They've threatened to oust him from power. By throwing them the red meat of an investigation into Biden, he may well have done enough to appease them.
I have sympathy with Speaker McCarthy. He's in a difficult position. But sometimes you got to tell these people who are way off the deep end, who have no interest in helping the American people, who just want to pursue their own witch hunts, that they can't go forward with it.
Democrat control of the Senate means there's virtually no chance of Biden ultimately being convicted. The danger is that the remainder of his term in office will be overshadowed by the investigation.